Thanks for stopping by. I'd like to preface this video by saying it is not a knitting tutorial, but it means to have something playing in the background while you work on your own knitting project. If you're like me and really enjoy watching videos while you work, sometimes you find that the content you like to watch is very visually engaging, and you're several hours in and haven't gotten nearly as far along in your project as you would have liked to. So that's where I come in. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back. It is a glorious Sunday Sunday afternoon. It's almost 12:30. I was up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I had 2 cups of coffee. Like, who am I? Honestly, I went to bed really early Saturday night, like around 9:30, 10 o'clock, which is early for me because my schedule's been crazy, but my sleep schedule has been crazy. I'm also kind of a night owl, and I woke up really early in the morning, just kind of like looked at my phone a little bit and then went back to sleep, and then finally, and I was like, I think I'm ready to get out of bed, and I looked at the clock and it was like 7 something. I'm like, this is weird. This is very weird. I don't even get up like that early when I have to go to work like I do tomorrow. I'm usually, well, now that I've been working from home, I don't get up that early. It's like a regular week for me, I'm up at like 6:15, 6:30. But while I've been working from home, I'm up at like 7:45, 8 o'clock, because I don't have to be like locked and loaded on my computer till 8:30. But yeah, I just had a lot of sleep, so here we are. If you watched my previous video, not necessarily in this playlist, but the last upload, you'll notice that I made this contraption. And you'll also notice that when I was demonstrating it, I only had like one little measly piece of string in there. That's because I didn't quite use up my ball of yarn yet. But now I have a new ball of yarn. I finished the last bit of that last one, so I can start anew. And as I have struggled with this this Wool in the Gang yarn, it is somebody had mentioned, it was Jenny, who is a frequent watcher of my videos and commenter. So thank you for providing me with all of your feedback. I really enjoy that. You mentioned that I think in the UK most balls of yarn are from an outside, which is why the yarn bowls are really popular there. And funny enough, Wool in the Gang is a UK based brand, so that could be that I'm forcing these to be center pull when they really are outside pull, and that's why I was having so many problems when I was trying to get this one to do what I wanted it to do, because I assumed it was I assumed it was a center pull ball of yarn. But some of their tutorials online do say to pull from the middle, but maybe that's not the case for every single ball of yarn that they have, and it was just that line that they had. So the purpose of my container here is to be able to pull this from the outside without it like flying around everywhere, because I would have normally pulled it from the center. So we're gonna pull from the outside, and it was easy enough to pop right out. So my idea, now I haven't tried this out with like a full ball of yarn yet, but my idea is that if I have it in this container, it'll do whatever it wants to do inside, and I can safely pull it from the outside without it bouncing around and getting all tangled. And all I did was just use my hole punch to make a guide right here, and hopefully it'll pull. Seems like it is so far, just like that. So sounds like it's doing what it should do. And I have so many buttons, I might even like hot glue like a little band over here, or like some straps. We'll see how this works just as is, but I might do some other attachments just to make sure this doesn't pop off as easily as it might. But we'll see. So now I have all this extra string here. But we're gonna go ahead and get started. So if you are new to this series within my channel, this is the Jolie Mimi Cardigan. It is a knit flat piece by Wool and the Gang, and below you'll see a link to the pattern. It's a kit, so if you want to buy it, you can if you want. I am knitting for a size US 20. It's like on their pattern kit, it's like a 18-20. So it's a US women's size 20 cardigan that I am shooting for. And it requires 10 balls of yarn. So you buy the kit with the 10 balls of yarn, color of your choice based on what's available. And something is tickling me. Ah, what's tickling me? Probably all those fuzzies I just released from my ball of yarn. And yeah, so it's knit flat. It's 5 panels, 2 front pieces, the back, and your sleeves, and it's all seamed together. So if seaming is not your jam, as it is not mine, which if you watch my previous ones, you know that I realized later that this wasn't going to be something all that fun to make, but we are here. We're here. We're going to finish. And I had like this much tail. You can't see. This much tail from my last ball of yarn. So I don't remember how much tail I had the last time I knit on it, honestly. But at the same time, the panel that I knit before. So this, I'm working on the second panel of this, of the front piece. And the first panel I did double stranded too long. Or no. I did the double stranded. I dropped one strand because you're supposed to, but I kept the tail for one more row at least. And so I think that's why I have a long tail now. No, that wouldn't, I don't think that would matter. Anyway, I'm going to start at the beginning of my row with my new ball of yarn. And we're about halfway to where we need to be before we can cut this yarn and then work on our back piece. And each panel is roughly 2 balls of yarn. So let me attach this right now. Yesterday, well, the video you saw yesterday was the day it was Cinco de Mayo. So happy belated Cinco de Mayo. But at the time you're seeing, or at the time you saw yesterday's video, it was actually Koji's birthday. He turned 5, which is hard to believe that this lovely kitty cat is now a 5-year-old grown man, and he still acts like a kitty, a little baby boy. So it's so funny because, like, I was thinking he and Kabu, his sister, they're full of energy. They're still so curious. I mean, in cat years, they're still pretty young because cats can live a really long time. But the fact that they still act like kind of like they're kittens is really funny to me, because Kokuo, who was my cat who passed away, when he was 6, he was very much a curmudgeon-y old man at that point. Like, he was in his ways. He was set in his ways. He did what he wanted to do. He was a super chill cat. Like, I loved him so much. But he was very much like a grown-up cat. Like, you saw him, he acted like a grown-up cat. But my 2 now, Kabu grew up with Kokuo. She was 3. No. She was like 2.5 when he passed away because they're 2 years apart. Wait, no, they're not. He was already 6. So, no, I got them about 2 years apart. So she grew up with him when she was a kitten too, and she was about 3. 3 or 4 when he passed away. So Wait, no. They're 2 years apart. She and Coco are two. No, who am I talking about? She and Koji are 2 years apart. Cause he's gonna be 5, she's gonna be 7. So Kokuo died when he was like 9.5. He was almost 10, and they were 6 years apart. So math. It's not my strong suit, but basically she grew up with him up until she was an adult, so she didn't really pick up on all of his ways. So I guess that's good that he wasn't. Some of his bad habits didn't rub off on her. Thankful for that. All right, so we have. Make sure I'm pulling. Have you ever done that where you had your tail and you accidentally started knitting with it instead of the active yarn? It hasn't. I can't remember if that's happened to me already yet, but I'm hoping it's not going to happen anytime soon. But yeah, Koji and Kabu they're just so full of life, so that's really good. I'm really happy that they are still lively cats, even though they're not little anymore. Now, I would usually carry my tail with me, but I don't know yet which side's the front and which side's the back, so until I get to that point, I don't want to like weave in my ends or anything until I've really decided where I'm going to be seaming this in from. So we're going to hold off on bringing my yarn with me to kind of like keep things tidy with these. And if you hear any slamming and stuff or yelling, my partner is alive and well and playing some games and drinking soda and water and coming upstairs to use the bathroom and slamming the door because that's what they like to do. So you'll hear a lot of background activity today. But, and the kitchen door too. My goodness. We have cracks all up and down the walls from them slamming the doors all the time. But super annoying. Anyway, so actually, on the actual birthday, so of yesterday, I filmed for the following week, but it was a celebratory video to say happy birthday to Koji and knit downstairs with one of my new projects that is kind of like a mini new project because it's for the kitties and it's not for anyone else, but I have all of this super bulky yarn that I didn't really enjoy knitting with the last time I used it, so I thought maybe I could felt it and make a blanket. So you'll see that next week when it goes live, but it'll be from me in the past making a video about the future. Kind of normal, like, since I film a lot of things ahead of time now to upload for the next week. So that'll probably be, I'm thinking I might be able to do that one downstairs in the living room since I can interact with my kitties while I do that. But it kind of depends on my partner, because they are also working from home, and after work, when I'll be filming, they will probably be doing what they're doing right now, which is playing video games on the computer and yelling at people and stuff, and I don't think anybody wants to hear that up close. I sure don't, and I don't think you guys do either, because they don't always have the cleanest of mouth when they're yelling at the people that they're playing with online. So we'll see how that goes. So I might not do that. But I'm excited to celebrate Koji turning whole 5 years old. I just can't believe it. he'll be 5. Kabu will be 7 next month. Like literally on June 3rd. So it's coming up really fast, and it's crazy how old they get, but how young they still seem. So I'm really hoping that they live extra long, healthy lives. Kokuo, who I mentioned, he passed away because he had cancer. He had sarcoma, and it was very, very aggressive. I remember taking him to the vet because at first I noticed he was eating like on the side. He was chewing like this, like he would tilt his head. So I thought he needed some dental, and he already was missing like one of his canine teeth when I got him from the shelter. So he had an extraction then, and then the vet was like, oh, he has an abscess, let's clean that out. Oh, he needs another extraction. So we took another tooth out, and then I'm like, no, he's still, he's losing weight, he's not doing very well. So they tried to do an x-ray on him, couldn't really tell much. So we sent him to a specialist. Specialist determined that he had tumor in his, like where he was eating weird, he had a tumor in the back of his head. And he had several tumors in his lungs, and they were in spots where even if they tried to treat it, it wasn't going to do anything. So we just had him on steroids and tried to make him as comfortable as he could be, but the tumor was growing in his head and it was causing him seizures. So where it was pressing, it was like messing with his nervous system. So it got to the point where he's having so many, the steroids weren't really working. He was still super, super thin. So we had to put him down. And that was, oh my gosh, if you had ever had to do that, it's tough. It was really, really tough because I didn't even have him for that long because he was an older cat when I got him. He was 6 when I got him, and the fact that he was only like 9.5 when he started showing signs was just the weirdest thing because we take him to the vet, for his annual all the time. He gets his rabies shot, he gets checked out, and the fact that the vet, like, I don't know, I thought it was cancer at first when he was acting crazy, and then my partner's like, it's not cancer, and then sure enough it was cancer. And I'm like, every time I think now when the cats get sick and start acting weird, I take him to the vet, but like, of course I look online first and I'm like, it's cancer. WebMD says it's cancer. And thankfully the scares I've had since with Kabu and Koji have not been cancer, but it's still always in the back of my head, the back of my mind after that cancer reality with Kokuo. And his ashes are actually here in the room with me. I got cut off during a very sentimental moment about Kokuo, but his ashes are in my current craft room here, and I have a picture memorial of him to keep him in my heart, of course. But so yes, cancer and pets is not fun. I don't think anyone ever thinks it's fun, but I just hope that Kabu and Koji do survive any craziness that might come their way. That they stay healthy and just stay lovable and energetic as they are now. So that's what I wanted to say. But for the most part, switching topics, it is Sunday afternoon. After I film this, I'm gonna have some food, and then we will jump into another video or two. I just had to switch my battery out because it died. But I have another one ready to go, and I'm going to charge that one up, so we'll see what happens. So my brother, on Friday, it was his birthday. On Thursday, it was my uncle's, so I wished them both happy birthday and talked to them on I text my brother because he's not one for phone calls, but He slept, which is very much something that we would both do. We both love sleep so much. He's still working out of the home, and it's kind of worrisome considering that the state is on a shelter-in-place order. His fiance is working from home, but his job, I guess because of it, he's not like, he's an essential employee, but like his job is servicing essential employee businesses or essential businesses, so he still has to go out and do what he has to do. And I'm hoping maybe his job is like a little more lax about it, but it doesn't sound like it so much. And so I told him, you know, my job is having us work from home still, and just giving him some updates on that, and told him about his present being late because of the puzzle that I found that I really, really, really think that they're gonna like, because it's hard. And so I have that coming, but it's not gonna be here till July, which, you know, is a while from now. But at the same time, I'm thinking I'm gonna try to do maybe a sock project for them while I wait. I have some sock yarn. I have a lot of sock yarn, as you guys know, if you've watched some of my other videos. Oh, that's some dust. That I have quite a collection now of sock yarn, and I thought, why not? Since I'm waiting for the rest of their gift to come in before I can mail it to them, might as well just knit some socks for them too. I was gonna knit them some for Christmas, but I have so much sock yarn, I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal if I use some of it now, because I have so much. So I'll do that. But I think I'm gonna show you guys like all of their gifts before I mail them out, so that you can see just why I mean, some of them are kind of silly, but I know they like weird stuff and I like weird stuff, so I think they're gonna like what they have. Finish this row here. But yeah, today I still have stuff. I still have a lot in my freezer, so I can't make the scones. But I bought the heavy cream, and I have enough sugar to do the creme brulee. But I might make that later this week. I'm gonna be off on Wednesday, so I might do that Wednesday instead. But today, later, I have a stick of butter hanging out on the counter because I'm going to do the lemon crinkles, because I have so many lemons for the scones that I don't want them to go to waste. So I'll just do a batch of lemon crinkles, and then we will have something sweet for dessert tonight, or a snack, or however we decide. So let's just do one more row, and then I'm gonna have some lunch. Don't know what yet. I have leftovers, and don't really want to make anything. I could make a sandwich, but I don't know. We'll see. I might just have some snack stuff. Yesterday I had some snack stuff, so I might just snack a little bit. But I have that to do. I also want to work on organizing my cabinet. I mentioned before, I don't remember what video it was, but I mentioned how my medicine cabinet thing I have for like keeping my hair care and some makeup and skincare and just odds and ends for the bathroom that don't fit in the medicine cabinet that's like drilled to the wall. Everything else is stored in there, and it's getting really full and I need to reorganize it. Every now and then I have to reorganize it, but as I've like just moved in, I haven't really spent a lot of time making it a little more functional. And so I'm always taking stuff out to get to other things, and I think I just need to organize it in a better way so the stuff that I use the most is accessible, and then the stuff that I have like for occasions is kind of kept in the back because I don't really use it that often. So just work on making that better for myself. But yeah, I'm so excited for those crinkles. It's been a long time since I made lemon crinkles, and I only brought out one stick of butter. I'm like, I might need to do 2 batches because my partner, okay, so it's the weirdest thing, but you know, it's one of those silly things that people do, and they hate, well, they don't hate, but they really don't like a lot of sweet stuff. Their taste buds have changed so much since they've gotten older. They're only 2 years older than me, so they're not even that much older than me. They're still in their 30s, you know, they're almost in their mid-30s. But, you know, when we first started dating, I was the sweet tooth person. Like, I grew up with a family who really liked dessert, and so that's a source of a lot of my problems now. I admit that, but our first like date, I made a batch of brownies, and we watched movies. They had put like a DiGiorno pizza in the oven or something at their place, and I brought over some brownies. So we had brownies and pizza and soda, and you know, very much like early college age type stuff for people to eat. And so I've always been like the dessert person, and my partner loves brownies and Oreos, and those have been like the 2 main things that they're fine. They love those things, but other sweets always were too sweet, or they just weren't, you know, a fan of. And then, you know, as we started dating more, and then we moved in together and everything, then they kind of warmed up to other desserts and discovered that there's more to life than just brownies and Oreos and chocolate silk cake. That's another one that they really like. But, you know, other things that are sweet that are good. And then, I don't know, the last 3 years maybe, their taste buds have changed. And, like, everything is too salty, too sweet. I got them onto spicy food, and now some things are too spicy for them that they used to kind of tolerate. Like, they liked a little bit of a kick after I introduced them to the world of like Indian cuisine, where things are usually spiced, and now they love Indian food. So I like to toot my horn, like, I got you into Indian food. But other than that, like, spices weren't part of their family. Their parents don't eat spicy food, so it wasn't until they started dating me that they got, you know, introduced to stuff. So like very flavorful things, very strong flavors. My partner usually steered clear of. Then they got used to it, and now they're not anymore. So it's weird because, you know, I, being a person who likes flavor and sweets and things like that, make these cookies or whatever, and then, you know, they're like, oh, it's too sweet, but then they eat the whole batch. I'm like, hello? Did I not just make these cookies for myself because you clearly do not like sweets anymore? And now who's eating 5 at a time? So it's like this silly thing. We're always going back and forth. I'm like, it's too sweet. It's too spicy. You're not going to like it. You're not going to like it. And then they eat it, and they're like, oh, actually, it's not that bad. So I'm like, well, which is it? And then some stuff is too sweet, too spicy, and it's like, I don't know. They're losing it. They're losing it. It's like the menopause of taste buds, I guess. It's hard to explain. So I'm worried because what if that happens to me, where things I used to love are no longer tasty anymore? I mean, I could probably find new things that I really like, but the ones I like are the ones I like, you know? So the fact that they kind of do a 180 where they started out not liking these things and then growing to enjoy them and then reverting back to thinking everything is too strongly flavored, is just interesting to me. But here we are in our adult years figuring out the flavor of life, or flavors of life. Alrighty, so we are, once again, we haven't made too much progress, but we're all tangled up here. We are there. So I think being on the second ball now is a good sign. That means we're almost to the end. But we're not quite there yet. We still have ways to go. And just an update, my yarn ball container thing is working pretty well. So I'm happy that I was inspired by the Joann's fabrics site and looking at their little container thing and having one of those, I can make that, epiphanies, and deciding to take a chance on using some stuff that I already had around the house to make this. So I'm happy about that. I want to keep using that. So, whew, I think it's lunchtime now, and I will see you later on with either another project or pattern book or something. I have a couple more videos to get on the books for this week, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.